kitchen. Actually, I should say good morning. We're going to be making buttermilk biscuits this morning. I already have the ingredients together, so let me change camera angles and we'll be right back. Alright, so we start off with 2 even cups of all-purpose flour, which I will sift out here. Again, we sift them out because if you just put packed flour in there, the biscuits comes out a little harder, a little drier. We go ahead and sift it out just to make it softer. Next up is a tablespoon of baking powder. Like I said before, with baking, you want to stay pretty well precise with the measurements. So we need to make sure to level off the baking powder. And then next up is a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. That's a half. And that's a 1/4. There we go. And then next up, we need a teaspoon of salt. We'll level that off. And finally, we're doing 2 teaspoons of sugar. Get the right can here. That's 1. And that's 2. So we'll go ahead and take a whisk and lightly stir this until it's well mixed, and we'll be right back. Alright, next up, some people will chop the butter up and cut it into the flour mixture. I like the technique where you can use the cheese grater and make the butter small little pieces. What you need to do is 3/4 of a stick of butter and literally cheese grate it up. It literally will get slippery after a while because the butter likes to melt in the heat of your hand. Get the last little bit in there. And go ahead and keep your the rest of your butter out. We're going to be end up using it here in a minute. So literally fighting my hand here for a moment. We'll go ahead and push that into the flour mix. To me, this is a lot easier than trying to cut it up with a knife. And we'll put the rest of this in there. What I'll usually do is I'll take a fork or the whisk and I'll fold it into the flour. So let me end up doing that and we'll be back in just a moment. Alright, now that the butter is folded in, we'll go ahead and create a bowl in the middle here. And we're going to do 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk. Poured a cup there for just a moment because I'm going to actually keep a cup for a little bit later on. Or keep 1/4 of a cup for a little bit later. A little bit more. There you go. Yeah, so we keep the 1/4 cup in case we need to add more. If it's too thick or too dry, we'll add more buttermilk. So let me go ahead and get this mixed up and we'll be right back. So next up, we're going to lightly flour the surface here. And we'll turn our dough out onto the surface. Always am a little bit too liberal on my surfaces here. I usually don't do a large enough area. So let me go ahead and turn the dough out on the surface here. It's still very pliable and very soft dough. You don't want to work it too much. And I don't have a rolling pin, so I'll just kind of mash it out to the thickness I want. Put that flour over the surface. Kind of lightly pat it down. You don't want to work it too much. Like I said, we'll go ahead and fold it once. Fold it twice, and then 3 times. Then we'll mash it out again. Like I said, you don't want to overwork it. And we'll let that sit for just a moment. Let me grab some more flour. Flour or the dough off my fingers. Yeah, if the top starts to get a little bit too sticky to your hands, just put a little bit more flour on it. That should be fine. Alright. So, the leftover butter that you had, go ahead and get all surfaces of your cooking dish. And also, while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and warm the oven up to 450. I should have started earlier. Make sure there's nothing in there. So we go ahead and get that one ready to go. Alright, so the dough is kind of pressed out to about a 1/2 inch. Go ahead and take your biscuit cutter, start on a corner. And you want to take your dough, which is now sticking to the cutting board, and lay them out. If you want them to rise high while they're in the oven, put them up next to each other. If you want them to stay kind of small and spread out, put them about 2 inches from each other. You want to keep the biscuits close to each other so you can use up as much dough as possible. And as close to the edge as you can. It's okay if you get a little clip on the side there. This will make about 8 biscuits or so. So while I'm cutting these out, we'll be right back. So as you can see, I ended up making 8 biscuits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I had a little bit left over, just ended up in the trash. It wasn't much to make a biscuit or even a little scrap of bread at all. So we'll go ahead and wait for the oven to warm up to 450. We'll throw these in here. What I'll do is actually take a little bit of buttermilk and spread the top before I throw them in there. We'll just wet down the tops to make sure, and we'll be back in a bit. Alright, so the oven is about up to temperature. I went ahead and spread on a little bit of buttermilk over the top of these. And I'll save a little bit of buttermilk off the side and melt some butter into it. It'd be good to spread over it after the biscuits come out. So we'll go ahead and put them in for about 15 to 17 minutes. Alright, we'll be back then. 15 minutes is up. The biscuits are now done. What I did is melted some butter down with a little bit of buttermilk. And I'll go ahead and bask the tops of them. Or not bask, but just coat the tops of them with the buttermilk butter mix. Kind of put them on a little generously there. And there we go. Biscuits are done. So if you like what you saw, please leave a thumbs up. And until next time, have a great week and a great weekend. And we'll see you next time. Bon appetit.